Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Viegas, Fight Up TV, being joined with the one and only Mr. Keith, one time Thurman. Keith, my man, good to see you. I see you in good spirits. How are you since everything went down with the injury?
Yeah, man, just doing what you got to do out here in life, man, and that's just take it day by day. Count your blessings. I've been out here in on the West Coast in California, working with the same doctor that did my hand surgery after the Pacquiao fight. He did this one here. He look the little
Oof.
view of that scarring, right? But I pretty much have full extension already, and that's ahead of schedule. So we're really happy with the progress that we're getting. We put some PRP in there for extra healing and stuff. So I just did everything that I could. Uh, I've been moving my arm every day, doing the exercises that the doctor's been wanting me to do, and the physical therapist. I got an appointment today with the PT, and yeah, man, just taking it day by day. Enjoying the West Coast. The weather is good this time of the year. It's not as hot as it would be in Florida, but it's still sunny. My daughter's playing a lot at the park. It's her birthday tomorrow, so we're just looking forward to celebrating her birthday. She's going to be 3. She's just loving life, and I'm just happy to be a part of that whole journey, man. So, like I said, you got to count your blessings. I'm just recovering out here, spending time with family. I'll be in Vegas for the fans and for the Canelo fight. The new Prime PBC reached out to me to work the prelims
Oh,
and
congrats.
to let me start dabbling back into some of the commentary like I was doing before with Fox. So I'm looking forward to that. I didn't get to be out there after my surgery because I was just in too much pain and I didn't want to, I'm very personable and a lot of people are going to, what's up, champ, this and that. I didn't want to be making contact with people post surgery like that, so I had to sit out from even making an appearance on the fight date. But I'll be walking into Vegas. I'll be seeing the fans and wearing a suit and tie and doing a little analytical work. I believe with Joe Goosen, that's a lot of fun. I worked with Joe in the past, so it should be a good weekend. And then overall, just recovering and wait until I can get back in action.
Yeah, it'll be good to see you in Vegas, and for the fans that are there to see you as well. As you know, it's going to be a big fight. A lot of fans will be there. But in terms of your injury, Keith, so take me back to the series of events that led to the injury. Like, what exactly happened to your arm?
Yeah, we were just doing what we were supposed to do in camp. With the weight class where it was, I believe we were 5 to 6 pounds overweight with 2 weeks to go. Like everything was on schedule. Uh, the weight management was great. The strength and conditioning was doing fabulous. And I did my typical sparring session with my guys, with my sparring partners. And in the 11th round, bada bing, bada boom, I went to throw. I kind of caught the young kid with a left hook a few seconds prior to when I popped my bicep. And the doctor said he thinks it was that punch that created a tear. And then the next punch just detached it from the bone, like boom. So, yeah, it was just typical sparring, man. My movement was good. The game plan was good. We were really honing into what we wanted to do. I was looking forward to everything. And there was just nothing I could do about it. It happened so fast. I couldn't even tell what was. I actually did feel a little strain in my arm from the one punch, but I just thought that was fatigue. I mean, I'm in the 11th round. St. Pete boxing can be hot, so I just thought my body was a little tired. My muscle was a little fatigued. I didn't, it, it wasn't a muscle tear or anything. It wasn't anything that really gave me a sense of pain. That's the problem with the tendons, right? Your tendons, um, they don't have that feedback uh, as like it's a pro and a con, right? Because my tendon was messed up, but I wasn't in a lot of pain. It's not a painful thing to happen to the body. Um, it just takes away the function of the bicep. It did swell up. Um, there was a lot of swelling and things that needed to reside. But yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate event, man. It was a full detachment when I got the MRI. I really didn't need the MRI. I already knew I was kaput. Like at the end of the day, I heard it snap like a guitar string in my
Oh,
body.
wow.
It sounded like a noise, like
Mm.
bing, like I could hear it pop. So I always heard if you hear a sound, like it's bad. And I never had it occur till that moment. And it was tough. I remember that night doing my daily during that camp. It became a nightly meditation. Normally I like to meditate early in the day to start the day. My days were really busy, so I was meditating at night. And I remember sitting and doing my meditation at night, and you know, my mind calmed down, and I finally started to see the bigger picture, which is you're not in good health, champ, and you probably need to take care of your body first. The fighter in me wanted to, let's do it one-handed. You fought Danny with bone spurs. You were injured in the Pacquiao fight. Like it's hard to talk myself out of a fight. It's a lot easier to talk myself into a fight. So that was challenging, but the injury was pretty apparent to a lot of people. And yeah, my team and my wife, everybody who cared about me, they wanted me to make the right call. And we had to step down, man. It was very unfortunate. We were ready for the fight. Um, we got to see everything that we wanted to see out of the performance with Tim Tsyzu. He was tough. He was a move forward fighter. And, ultimately his style was not unbeatable, and I just think that we did everything right, but things happen in the game, and it's just another setback for your man. But we're feeling good. We're feeling strong. We're staying positive. You're already noticing that, right? We're staying positive out here and taking it one day at a time. And I just have faith, man. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to question and want to doubt. A lot of talks are already about my time off. Now I'm going to have more time off. How many more interviews am I going to have to talk about that, right? But at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to being back in the gym this week. I'm able to do my cardio, do some basic strength on the right side, not the left side, and just get mentally and physical ready, because I'm going to have to make up for this lost time. I want to get back in the ring as soon as possible. And that means sometime this year, towards the last quarter of the year, whether that's November or December, but before the year ends, I want to be back in the ring.
Yeah, lots to divulge here with what you said. The first, off the top of my head, what's the timetable for your full recovery for your arm, your tendon?
Yeah, 6 months. 6 months, 8 months, and then it just depends on myself, moving forward, but not doing too much too fast, and messing with the healing process. That's what we're holding back on right now. Like I said, my range of motion is already way better than the scaling timeline is supposed to be, because of me doing my exercises, working the modalities, even turning my hand. When I first got out post surgery, I was in a brace for 2 weeks, right? So after I got out of the brace, there was stiffness in motion, but just turning my hand over like this, I'm already ahead of schedule. I almost feel 100. Like I remember, like I can actually kind of almost get to a full extension. I feel centimeters away from perfection right now. So I'm really happy about that, because one of my major concerns about the surgery is, can I put my arm all the way out there? When you hear bicep and you hear surgery, luckily for me, the incision is in front of the bicep. So my bicep is fine, right? My bicep looks good. And so I'm just really grateful to have a great doctor and do what we needed to do. He said it was very important that you got the surgery, when I did, which was a few days before the fight date. So from injury to surgery, I think I was like 10 to 12 days out. It was before 2 weeks out. And he said that was very important because the body, while it's injured, will start to heal itself. And then that makes it a little bit more challenging to do the same surgery that we just did. So just things, even when they're going bad, somehow things are still falling into place, which is why I hold the faith. The one who's benefiting the most out of this trip is my daughter. She's just growing so much, experiencing so much with the friends and the people that we have out here in California. She's talking a lot and progressing. And yeah, man, we just count our blessings, stay positive. And I just believe Keith Thurman has a place in this boxing world. It's not over, baby. That I have a place, whether it's at 147, 154. We control our destinies through our actions. And I just got to take care of my body and then put on a performance for the fans to love.
Yeah, you're taking, like you mentioned a few moments ago, you're staying very positive. You seem positive. Even though we're on Zoom, like I could sense, you're looking at this at the right mindset, positive mindset. But I would imagine those first few days must have been a little bit difficult for you. You'd been out for quite some time. This was a big fight, a fight that many felt you were a live dog in as well, and you trained your butt off.
Yeah, there was it was interesting, with my practice, it kind of was the glue to my emotional stability, because we've been here before in the past, right? I mean, I've never been more depressed than losing my world title and having a doctor cut my hand open in 2019 when I was here on the West Coast post surgery. I've never been more depressed in my life, and I put on a great performance. Perception is everything. I missed out on the opportunity to make 7 figures and take it home and to help my family and my kids and prepare that future, and gather up some chips before we really walk away from the game. And we got another setback. I have every reason to be right back in a negative mindset. I have every reason to be right back into depression. Was there disappointment? Yes. Was there a little initial sadness? Yes. Was there a little mental instability? Yes. But the question is, how long did it last? And this time on this part of my journey, and my positive outlook, and my faith, just believing that there will be a time, there will be a place where I will showcase my skills and talent to the world once again. And, whether I'm delusional or not, it helps me wake up every single day and just move forward and do the best. I'm looking at this now. I got so much time, I'm like, what kind of challenge do you want to put yourself through? There's some detoxes, there's some certain diet things that I haven't been able to do when I'm training or when I'm really thinking that a fight's right around the corner. 6 months from now, 6, 7, 8 months from now, I can be back in the ring. But that gives me several times to do like a 30-day challenge, a juice fast or something to detox the body. And I'm just looking forward to doing those playful things while I'm inactive right now with weight training. I can do stretching. I can focus a little bit more on yoga, open up my hips, get better rotation, and just do certain things with stability and flexibility that can prevent injuries in the future so we can get back to work 100%. And once we get this fight going, we can get the next one and the next one and just close out the show with some action when it comes to the end of Keith Thurman's career overall.
Was the injury caused just overall wear and tear? Were you pushing it too hard in training? Was there another underlying injury on top of that? Did you ever find out like what caused it?
Yeah, no, I really think it just has to do with the way that I threw the punch before I snapped it. The sparring partner of mine, he was right-handed, and he he was doing one of those turning techniques, right? Not as bad as Ryan Garcia, and you know, but you know,
we'll get into that.
one
We'll
of
get
those
into that.
turning techniques.
Yeah.
You know, one of those like I'm just gonna roll over here and keep my head like, you know, he was doing this little technique, and I thought to myself, you know, two things happened. One, he moved forward and he threw a slow jab, and I caught him with a check hook. It wasn't slow, but it wasn't fast enough to not get countered. That was the problem. So I countered him real quick. Boom, check hook. I said, you know what? You're staying light. You're in the 11th round. I said, if you can still throw check hooks, lead hooks in the 11th round, like, you're going to be good this fight. So I got the idea, let's do this round and let's just keep throwing left hooks. He had that weird little technique. So I said, let's show him it's not perfect. But the way, you know, in boxing and shadow boxing, and you go to a gym and you see people and they do like these perfect hooks and these perfect uppercuts. But I tell fighters, what's the perfect punch? The one that lands. The one that lands is the perfect punch. So that means, like, if this is how I practice and throw my hook, but to hit him, I gotta like reach out here. I'm gonna reach. I don't know about you. I know about me. I'm gonna reach because I want to hit you in your face. So wherever your face is, that's where my fists are going. And him doing that move, it made me extend my hook, which then elongates the bicep. And there's a certain force. Once I showed him his technique wasn't perfect, there was a certain force that I pushed through my elongated bicep, and it's just in the motion. It's just athletes, right? You twist your ankle, you know, you break a bone. It's happening so fast in a motion. So I really just think that it's the way I chose to throw the punch and exert myself. There was nothing leading up to that injury. It just was spontaneous and unfortunate.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, I was bummed out when the news came out. I think I heard maybe Sunday night, the week before the fight, and then Tim went on a Zoom call. I believe either that Sunday or Monday, to say like, hey, yeah, you know, Sebastian Fundora is now coming in with the fight. With that being said, Keith, you know, how were you looking? What would have happened? How would you rate the shape you were coming in? How sharp you were coming into this fight against Tim Tsyzu, and what would have happened?
Yeah, I mean, we were prepared for our game plan, you know, which was just good lateral movement. You know, what did Fundora, right? What did Fundora do right? The one thing that you should be doing to an undefeated fighter who was, you know, beating everybody up. Don't get hit, right? Don't get hit. Don't stand there and trade and this and that. And we thought, you know, we saw some of the lateral movement he's dealt with in the past, but I could clearly see that, you know, I punch off of my lateral movement, you know, I counter off of my lateral movement. And we were planning to set traps for Tsyzu. We were planning to set traps, be busy with the jab. Mentally, I remember preparing for the fight a little bit like I did with Soto Karass, because, you know, in the presser, I just kept teasing him, calling him Mexican Zoo, what you gonna do? And it's because his style just innately reminded me of some of the really move forward, tough fighters that I fought in the past. Because of my longer resume, you know, I could say Tim Tsyzu reminds me of this guy or that guy. Now it would have been his job to prove me wrong, right? But unfortunately for him, you know, he had that cut. He had the blood in his face all night from the second round, moving onwards. And even when you could see like the gusto, like the gun ho, like, let me get this guy out of there. I think it was around like the fourth round, he really started to open up. You know, it was predictable. You know, I saw exactly what I thought I would see, you know, when it came to his offense. And my team and I, we just felt like we would be able to take advantage of it. The most challenging thing, which I was being prepared for, but we we would have to test it under the lights, is, that pressure. And if I'm using lateral movement, uh, I had it in sparring. We were already in the 11th round, but, would it have been there the night of the fight? That's why I use multiple sparring partners. No matter how much of a pressure fighter you are, you probably are not going to have the pressure that my sparring partner is bringing to me in the 8th round, when it's my 8th round, it's his first round, or actually
they're coming in fresh.
It's actually my 9th round.
Yeah,
it's my 9th round, and it's your first round. So when I was mentally preparing for that Tim Tsyzu, he used to start fast, but after his knockdown, they say, like, he got a little smarter and he pushes in the later rounds. Would my feet ever get tired? Would Thurman ever end up on the ropes and be in danger? But seeing what I saw, which is just to pivot him, to move, Fedora, he didn't have to use footwork as far as like moving around the ring. That's because he has those daddy long legs. He's got those big stencil feet. All he has to do is step around, right? His step around is me hopping around, right? Like he just has to step around, and the gaps and the distances that he can cover, and a little bit of body movement. It's almost like Fury, right? Like Tyson Fury, just being so big above a lot of those other heavyweights. Very subtle movement is actually big movement in the ring. It only takes an inch to miss. So my team and I, we got a lot of phone calls, man. Thurman, this guy was made for you. You could have had a great night, blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is, man. Fedora got some blessings. He took advantage of the opportunity. Unfortunate event with Tim Tsyzu not being able to just fight his fight and having to fight multiple battles. You fought somebody you didn't prepare for. You're fighting blood in your face. You're fighting this towering inferno and this long jab, and but that's boxing for you. Styles makes fights. He showed what, I still think he's a friend fate, for the fans. I think his style is still good. I think he'll still do good things in the division. But we'll see who else can give Tim Tsyzu a tough time throughout his career. He's about to be right back in action. He's already negotiating again. And that's official. That's good for him.
That fight's official.
Yeah, it's official. So he's staying moving, staying busy, and he'll be all right. He'll be able to bounce back. He's just got to put in the work, and we'll see what happens to this division. And what Fedora got 2 belts out of this rodeo, right?
I don't know if the WBO became official, but for sure the WBC I think is the one. Tim was no, you know what? I think no, you are right.
Got put on the line.
It got put on the line. So, when the injury happened to you. Tim has this fight now with Virgil Ortiz. We'll get into that, but in terms of you, I know you mentioned, hey, I'm not sure, 47, 54. How do you feel? Like, where do you want to be at, 54 or 47?
Yeah, I'll assess that in in about 2 more months, when I'm back in the gym, and naturally just from moving and shaking loose and just doing a little bit of cardio, a little bit of strength work, and just seeing where my weight just like averages out. Because like I said, we were 2 weeks out, 5-6 pounds away from weight. Like it was nothing, 2.5 pounds a week, and then on fight week, just staying on my diet and my regimen going into the fight, we would have lost 2 pounds the following week. And then it would have been fight week. We would only have 2-3 pounds to lose. We could have done that any day that week, So I think the 154 division is actually easy, a little bit more relaxed. I did eat a little bit more carbohydrates in camp when it came to other camps and portion sizes, especially the Pacquiao fight, where I had to lose 35 pounds in 11 weeks. We had to do keto for that. So I remember a whole lot of weeks with just like no carbs, like the carbs were like right before workout. They were very portionate. There was no extensive, like, okay, you can eat this, you can eat this extra rice and you can have this and that. So the only thing is it would have been good to get the experience in the division and feel out the overall performance. And that would let me know whether or not I really truly wanted to compete there or not. Because I believe with the right game plan and the timeline as far as training camp, when people are like, oh, I took this fight a little early. They gave me this date. So we just had a 7 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 week, 8 week camp. Like, if I was in those scenarios, I'm gonna want that. I don't see myself making 147, but the way my body is now at 35 years old, if I have a solid 11 weeks, if I have a solid 12-week preparation, I think possibly, 147 would still be in the books. It might be a little old school draining the fight week and, pulling that water weight off. 147, I've been doing that for a long time. So, but I do believe that it's possible. I don't think that it's impossible. What matters is where the contract comes from. Because once I'm ready, I just need action. So wherever the action's coming from, that's where I'll be competing.
Yeah, the two divisions are getting really interesting now. Given Ryan Garcia beating Devin Haney over the 2 weeks ago in New York, and him saying, "Hey, hinting a move to welterweight." Hey, him even calling out Sebastian Fundora for a 154 title as well. I saw a tweet of yours in regards to the fight. What did you make of the performance? And are you eyeing potentially maybe a Ryan Garcia? Like, do you foresee your guys' paths meeting with each other?
Ryan is like a lottery ticket in the boxing world right now. I believe that, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. He fought, he didn't fight for the title, or, he didn't make weight. He doesn't care about the titles. He has one of the biggest platforms when it comes to followings out of a lot of the mainstream boxers. And, if I was him, I mean, I would not step into the welterweight division. There's just bigger hitters, bigger threats, really good boxers. But at the end of the day, it's whatever kind of show he wants to put on. I thought I missed a few rounds. I missed the opening rounds. I think I got in on somewhere in round 3. And the first thing I thought, I saw Haney holding. And the first thing I thought is, why is Haney holding? I was like, what kind of boxing is this? And, eventually I couldn't tell what was going on in the fight before that. So the next day I finally learned that, he got caught in round 1.
Yeah, early.
I didn't see the punch in round 1, So overall, when I reassessed the fight, not even watching round 1, I still haven't watched round 1, to be honest. See, I'm the kind of boxer who I just need to know the information, right? Because I already saw certain behavior patterns, and I had the question, where did that come from? Why was Haney holding like this? And why was he, I mean, I know he's a scared fighter anyways, but why is he really being like that at that moment in the 3rd round? I learned that it was because he got caught in the 1st round. And like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a game plan until they get hit, right? We said this a lot. A lot of people have said this, stop comparing the next good guy to Floyd Mayweather. Just stop it. You know what I'm saying? Floyd is so unique. He was an Olympian. He deserved a gold medal that year. He didn't get it. Like, Floyd is Floyd. He's like a sharp shooting Pernell Whitaker or something. Floyd is different. He's not. Pernell Whitaker is different. these historical fighters and fighters in general, they're very hard to just say this guy is that guy, you know, except for when you're dealing with fighters, right? Boxers who use their IQ and their knowledge and their ring gentlemanship, they're harder to put together than fighters. Fighters stand and fight. Oh, this guy likes to stand and fight. Oh, they're like each other. That one's easier to come across, right? But Haney proved to the world that, you know, he doesn't have the methodical approach like a Floyd Mayweather. Hey, let's be honest. He can't even take a punch like Keith Thurman, right? When you've seen me take a punch, whether it was a body blow or if I got wobbled from an overhand right or a left hook, there was the Soto Carras in round 1. There was Jose Cito Lopez. There was Diego Chavez. All these dudes hit me with a shot. Some people hit me with shots y'all didn't even get to comment on because my poker face was too good. But my head was going, right? So when we say that there's levels to the game, it's not just a skill set, but, you know, the old saying is, it's not what you can dish out, it's what you can take, you know? That's what's going to make you an elite fighter. A lot of people can box pretty and do certain things. That's fine. But what can you handle when the hammer is coming down? How do you shift? How do you adjust? You know, and Haney looked like he forgot about boxing. There was no overall game plan. There was nothing to go back on. Like, okay, let's just stay away. Let's just work the jab up, down. The head movement was poor. And that's what happened. So everything is good till you get hit. And he's gonna have to be more physically and mentally prepared in the future if he wants to be a wrecking ball and, you know, even at the 140 division.
Where does he go from here, Keith? Do you, because of how the fight turned out, do you feel it's going to affect him going forward in other fights? Do you feel that now fighters that face him in the future are going to see that Ryan Garcia performance and know exactly what to do and better plan for him? But also, do you think, does it affect him now confidence-wise coming into these fights, knowing what happened with Ryan?
I'll share with you what I was telling certain people. There's two major mistakes that Haney's team kind of did overall, right? So some people know that Bill was talking about, you know, Haney fighting at 147, let's fight Keith Thurman. He called me up out of the blue.
Yeah, I remember that. I think that's why you tweeted, right?
I couldn't tell him what was already, you know, going on with PBC. So I just said, look, Bill, I don't think our calendars are going to line up. He said, oh, when do you want it? We'll be on here. I said, Bill, just calm down. I'm not interested. Keep it moving. But I'm going to let you know this right now. You keep moving your son up and just putting him in against bigger dudes, like, you're going to get your son hurt. And I told him on the phone that Devin Haney, I watched it. He caught Lomachenko with check hooks. Bing, right? Clean shots. Bing, bing. That was when Devin Haney was the bigger man in the ring. Lomachenko took those check hooks and kept moving forward. You're fighting a smaller guy, and you can't keep a smaller guy off of you. That's all I needed to know before I told Bill, you put him in with bigger guys, you're just going to get him hurt because no one's going to be scared of his pillow hands, right? So that's just moving fighters up, thinking that your fighter can be like Floyd and Pacquiao and this and that. You gotta move up methodically, right? The second thing is when he fought his fight before this fight, when he fought the Rigaroo, the gap in boxing talent was too big, okay? And the problem is you put on a good performance, you look good on TV, everyone praised you, you got paid. You should have stopped the kid. His corner you're not even knocking the kid out, but his corner was about to stop the fight. That's how much you were dominating him. If Haney had any dog in him, he would have won that fight via stoppage some way, somehow. Okay. So I saw no dog in Haney, but his father allowed him to believe that he accomplished something great in boxing on that night. I think he did a good job. I think he did a good job. I think he deserves praise. But to be elevated into you've done something great in the sport of boxing on that night, I think it's too early, right? And he had an opportunity to possibly put on a great performance, but he wasn't able to do it. You know, if all you have is boxing and pity pat and holding, and he just doesn't have a big enough punch, in my opinion, to be a threat to bigger guys. He's a small guy, 135, 130 pounder. Like Lomachenko's a 126 pounder. You know, you can't hurt somebody who fights at 126, but you want to fight people at 140, 147. And then, you know, Ryan drinks his beer, does his antics, whatever. He made sure when he got in that ring, he's the bigger man. And, you know, if they're, you know, Ryan tried to say, oh, he does hit hard or whatever. Like, Ryan, that's the beer talking. Okay, Ryan, that's the beer talking. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Okay, we all could see that you were never scared, you were never worried, and nobody. I mean, Lomachenko wasn't worried. You know, nobody should be worried, and that's a problem in boxing. You know, I come from a certain era that my coach, he wanted power, because power is going to make the other guy think, right? I remember in the amateurs when I was fighting Demetrius Andrade, you know, I knew I hit harder than Andrade. The problem is Andrade hits hard enough to make you think. He hits you hard enough, especially at 152, where we were competing, you know, not 168 where his last fight was, right? But at the division at the time, I was one of the bigger punchers in the division going into the Olympic trials, but Andrade had speed and enough pop when he hit you, it made you a little cautious. You don't need to be a knockout guy, but if you're using speed, if you're using tactics, you need to have that whip, that boom. You need to have a little snap at the end of the punch to make the aggressor not like that sting, and it'll make people hesitant, right? What was one of the biggest downfalls of me versus Pacquiao is that knockdown in the first round, it made me hesitant, because if I was to make a mistake and he was to capitalize with his speed and his pop, then the second knockdown, I can't win this fight on the scorebooks no more. It's a knockout only kind of win, right? I didn't want to be in that situation. So it was a very close fight. The scorecards were going left and right, but I didn't pull it out. I hesitated. There was multiple moments where I hesitated because I never felt Pacquiao was going to knock me out that night. I never felt before the fight that he had the power to knock me out, but I knew he had the power to knock me down. He knocked down Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya got up. He knocked down Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley got up, right? These are real welterweights. So I always felt like he had the capacity to knock me down. Once it actually happened, it was on my radar. It's not in the back of my head. It's at the forefront of my mind. And that made me hesitate. So I just don't think that he has the capacity to make bigger guys hesitate and finesse them to win the way that, you know, he needs to win. You know, Ryan's a wild one, man. I loved Ryan when he first turned pro. I just like his skill set, his speed. I actually like his movement when he chooses to box. The only problem is no one's teaching him how to fight off of the movement, right? When he was giving Haney some movement, Haney was just trying to walk him down. Haney was inactive. He was inactive. He was wasting the clock. But I thought off of that movement, if he could come with like a right hand, left hook, or even just circle jab a little bit off of the movement, I think Ryan would be at an even another level. You know, he's still young. I think we saw a lot in the Tank fight. that he had room to grow. And I still think that Ryan Garcia has room to grow. And it's just up to him how much he wants to be an elite in boxing. But Styles makes fights, and everything worked out for him on that night. But, be careful who you pick, son, because, there's some real fire out here. You know what I'm saying? You just melted a marshmallow, son. You know what I'm saying? You just roasted a marshmallow. You didn't really, a lot of people wonder what Pitbull Cruz would do to a Ryan Garcia, and that's a question out there. So Styles makes fights. There's a lot of threats out here in the world of boxing, but if there was no danger, there'd be no excitement. So it is what it is, man. We'll see what he chooses to do. I saw something on Twitter. He was shouting out something to the MMA fighter. The guy
Sean
with all
O'Malley.
the crazy hair.
Yeah.
What's that? Who's it? What's
Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, O'Malley, that O'Malley guy, So, who knows what kind of next exhibition type thing Ryan Garcia ends up doing. He's got a fan base. He's got good talent. He puts on a good show. I tip my hat off to him. But 147 is dangerous, boy. Drink less beer and stay at 140. That's my advice.
Warren and Ryan, bigger punchers, lay ahead for him at 47. And even the Fundora talk kind of caught me by surprise. And Ryan even himself said, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I know I can crack this dude. I can knock this guy out. Could you foresee like a Ryan Fundora fight?
No, I mean, I don't foresee it, but it's like I said, the kid's gonna pick who he wants to pick. Who's not gonna fight Ryan Garcia in today's day and age? And if you have a talented fighter, like Tank did, you got a talented fighter. Ryan Garcia is the perfect platform for multiple millions of people to be exposed to what your talented fighter brings to the table, whoever that is, whatever weight division it is, So it's just a great platform for anybody in the sport of boxing to, punch Ryan Garcia in his face.
Yeah, there's two fights I think that fans want to see him in. One is Teofimo Lopez, and the other is a rematch with Gervonta with no rehydration clauses, no nothing, at a straight agreed upon weight with no stipulations whatsoever. I spoke to Leonard a few days ago, and he says all that is just excuses on Ryan's end. At the end of the day, that fight would boil down to IQ, and Tank just has a better IQ than Ryan. But if they were to rematch, Keith, based on what you saw, I would imagine you think Ryan does a lot better this time around with no weight stipulations in the fight, right?
No, not really.
Not really.
I think that's not what's going to help Ryan do better. Okay. What's going to help Ryan do better is actual game plan preparation, right? Having a real legitimate game plan, because what he just did last night won't work on Tank. I don't care what you guys think, okay? I don't care that it looks good and he knocked this guy down 3 times. That's that fighter. That's nowhere near Tank Davis, okay? Just go back and watch that fight between him and Tank and look at the miles ahead that Tank was on ring generalship, okay? I'm talking about overall poise, everything that led up, every microfiber, every calm action, every movement that led up to that first knockdown. No matter how much Ryan was throwing the hook, Tank stayed focused, Tank stayed calm. And I just don't see just Ryan winging it ever taking Tank outside of his comfort zone. So he's got to set it up. He's got to work the jab, work the feint, and then sneak in the hook. Don't just throw the hook. You got to sneak the hook in, okay? And I just think that, another problem with Ryan right now is every fight he's got a new trainer, right? So I saw that back in the day with my buddy Chad Dawson. When you're hopping from trainer to trainer to trainer, you get a little insight. You get a different training camp. You like something here, you like something there, but you're not focusing. No one's molding you. You know, you got to really let somebody have their hands on you so that they can mold you and manipulate you and elevate you. You know, so I don't know if he's got the right team that's allowing that to happen. I don't mind the rematch. I'll take the rematch against Tank. Don't get it twisted. I don't mind the rematch. I always thought the first fight was premature. Okay. So like you said, let's see a Timo. Let's see a Fimo Lopez fight. I still like the Isaac Cruz. Let's see something. Let's get him a little bit somewhere else, elevate him a little bit more with his overall ring experience, and then run the Tank fight back. And, you know, I'll always favor Tank in the fight, but with the right preparation, I do think that he could perform better, overall perform better, ultimately, you know, have a greater performance, put up a better fight, win a couple of rounds. But you know, from what I saw, there's, especially in the later rounds, some of those tactics that Ryan was pulling out. If Tank Davis was walking him down, it'd be a different story. So I still think that he can be hurt in the later rounds by Tank if he was to perform better in the opening half of the fight. And then, you know, Tank hurt him initially with that body shot too. So, you know, I think Tank would just know that, you know, I can box him like this and I'll pretend like I'm not really going for the body, but when the moment's there, I'm gonna go right back to the body. So, you know, and power, you know, it's tough. It's tough to just sit there and take that. So I like what Ryan's bringing to the boxing world. It feels like Jake Paul, but a real boxer. That's what it feels like, you know. But he really does bring some skills into the boxing world, and I like it. I like his hook. I like his movement. But I just hope he has a team that molds him, you know. And let's see, you know, let's see who he fights next. You know, I mean, personally, stylistically, you know, I didn't really like Rolly's performance in his last fight, but I do like Rolly in that division as well. For somebody like Ryan to showcase his skills and talents, you know, but somebody who's got more pop than Haney that might could be a threat. But that's why, you know, you want somebody that got a little bit more hype around him right now. It would be a Fimo Lopez. It would be an Isaac Cruz, and a few other names in that division.
You know, Derek James trains Ryan right now, and this was their second fight. But I don't know if you heard, Errol and Derek split over a money issue, with, you know, Derek not getting what he felt was his amount that he should be getting. Just your reaction to that, and a lot of fans are just kind of confused how that dynamic works with a fighter paying a trainer.
Yeah, it happens all the time, actually. You know, it happens all the time. You know, sometimes fighters and trainers have contracts. Sometimes they just have handshakes, people, you know, where you know what the deal is. I know what the deal is. We're gonna work together. We're gonna make this happen. You know, but a lot of times, you know, a lot of times when, you know, Errol and him, they got rapport. They were together for many years, for many fights, you know. So it's interesting when you feel like you have a dynamic like that. You think that there's a lot of loyalty amongst them, you know, and then you hear about something like this, you know. Money changes people. It happens all the time, you know, and sometimes maybe trainers think they're worth a certain amount, and maybe to us fighters, they're just not. Maybe they're not really bringing to the table what they used to bring to the table. And, you know, once you're making, you know, what am I going to give you? I'm not going to give you a percentage. You know, I got to cap you off. I'm not going to give you a percentage of 10, 15, 20 million dollars. Like, you know, so there's always what's called just fairness, right? There's fair. And then sometimes, even if you do give somebody a fair amount, at that time it might be unfair, you know, or it feels unfair. So, you know, we aren't those two individuals where we only know what we've heard. And, you know, it happens in boxing. You know, trainers do deserve to be paid, you know, a respectable amount, not, you know, an astronomical amount, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the value. You know, I know my coach. If my coach from the amateurs, Ben Getty, you know, if he was alive, I'd hand him over. I'd be handing him over big checks, you know, without any hesitation, you know. So fighters just have to assess, what is this trainer, what is this training camp, what is this, you know, 2-3 months of work, what is it worth, you know. But I think it's very important that trainers and fighters have this conversation in the beginning of camp. Don't let it go out, you know, because, you know, if you're not happy, you know, at least know what you're getting yourself into. And if you want to work with them, take the check. If you don't want to work with them, tell them to get it stepping. Tell them, hey man, you seem like you got everything planned out. It was really fun working with you and stuff, but you know, I think I'll pass. It's hard. It's still a check. You know, whatever he paid him, he paid him. He did not pay him, right? So there was still some transaction. It's just feelings, emotions, and then that's why sometimes it's better to just have a written agreement, so that it's like, hey, look, you know what's going on in your boxing world over here, your obligations, and you know, for this training camp, you know, just come to an agreement, you know, and have it set, you know. Now, if you come to an agreement and then the fight happens and then the fighter switches on you, then you know that's not moral, you know, that's not just. But like I said, at the end of the day, I remember what my coach always told me growing up. He said, today I'm the boss of you, but in the future you're going to be the boss of me. And that's what it means to be an elite fighter. Everybody that we work with is for hire. And at the end of the day, this is just the dynamics of boxing as a sport, and what makes it a little different than, let's say, basketball, football, baseball, you know. So it's complicated. It always has been. It always will be, man, you know. But they had a great run together. He's got this boy, you know, thanking Jesus, being grateful, and signing big checks. So his, you know, what goes around comes around. If you deserve it, you're going to get it in life, right? So, you know, that slot got filled with Ryan, right? So at the end of the day, like I said, in life, man, we got to have a positive outlook and just count your blessings. And everything is impermanent, you know, so that means the lows that you have, they're not going to last forever. The highs that you have, they're not going to last forever, you know. So if you're on a high right now, enjoy it, love it, appreciate that, you know what I mean. And if you're in a low right now, hold faith, know that it can't last forever, because it's just the dynamics of life and energy and how things work out here. Everything's subject to change, and you know, you'll get out of it. And that's what holds me strong through my injuries, is that this moment at time is impermanent. And you know, me being a great fighter and being back in action is just a matter of time.
So how is it normally, Keith? Because a lot of fans are wondering, and it was assumed by a lot of fans that it's a 10% fee that the trainer takes when they train a fighter on the guaranteed, or is it on everything that's made? Because I think that's the issue with Errol and Derek, where I think Derek was getting a percentage of the disclosed person, not the total person. And he brought up, you know, his payment for the Terrence Crawford fight being, I think it was like 350,000. And he kind of knows, like, yo, you know, AJ paid me more, Ryan paid me more, but this was a bigger fight than those fights. Why am I getting paid less? How is it normally with that, Keith? I guess
That's what I'm
inform
saying.
people. Yeah,
I think 350 is fine.
yeah,
I think 350 is fine. I think a fighter needs to just have the conversation like, look, I've given you this in the past. I'm not obligated to that. I've done that out of goodwill, but I got to take this back to my family. You know, we're going to put this camp together. We're going to fight, twice this week. See, coaches have an opportunity to work with multiple fighters. Fighters only have the income they got for that year, you know? And like I said, you don't know when it's all going to be all said and done. Some fighters, their careers get cut short because of, certain injuries, eye injuries, whatever's happening. You don't know what's going to happen. A car accident, like Paul Williams, So there's so much that's not guaranteed. So if you don't have a written contract that guarantees 10%, then whatever he's paid you out of goodwill, right? And then if you have a big fight and he wants to do what I call put the cap, they put the cap. We make it to the, this is it. This is the top, 350. 350, coach. Like, that's what I got for you this camp. Like, take it or leave it. It's life. It's one fighter, one camp. It's 350. Somebody's paid you more. Someone else has paid you a little nicer. Like I said, man, be grateful. I love math. When I was in school, English and grammar and all that, wasn't a big fan of it. Got better as the years went on in school, but ultimately I like numbers. I like the equations, and I like certain things with math. And the moment that the mind wants to complain about an issue, and there might be some validity there too. Like, let me say that first. There might be a real validity behind you having these feelings and emotions about a business ordeal, right? But at the end of the day, what I always tell myself that allows me to sleep good at night is you could always have more. You could always have more. That's true. That's true. But you could always have less. So let's remember that. You could always have more in life, but whatever you have right now, you could always have less. So just be grateful. It's just something I say to myself to neutralize that mindset of I'm not getting enough. I don't have what I should have. So-and-so, they're driving this Ferrari. They're driving this Rolls Royce. How come you never got yourself a Rolls? You should have just bought the Rolls Royce. Whatever. How would you feel? I'd feel better about myself if I was in a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? Whatever. Is that really factual? Because once you're in the Rolls Royce and then more problems come in life, you're going to be driving around in the Rolls Royce with these problems, with stress, anxiety, and everything in your mind stream, man. So just mental health and stability, man, understanding that things don't go your way all the time and just being able to move past it. I'm just growing so much in my life, just being able to accept what has happened, what is happening, and accept what I have in control. If I really want to make a change, maybe there are some things that I can do to change, right? But outside of that, everything else is not in my control, man. So you can always have more, you can always have less, and then just be grateful for what you have and humble yourself, and keep it moving, man. Another day, another dollar, another sunny day, another cloudy day. The times will just keep moving, they'll keep shifting, and it is what it is. Some people, they demand, they really want, but at the end of the day, if that's what Errol chose to do, if that was how he wanted to cap him off, he probably could have verbally explained it better so that it wasn't a shock. It feels like it was a little bit of a shock, but that's where communication come into play. So for all those future world champions that are grinding hard and, you know, looking up to fighters like me, Errol, and Crawford, and Ryan, to all of you guys, man, just have the rapport, have the conversation with the coaches, have the contracts or verbal agreement. Just make sure your team is all up on the same page, man. There's no need to just like stiff people in the industry. Everyone's out here working hard. You know, the people that got your back, they got your back. Be grateful for them. If they've served their time with you and it's time to move on and be with another trainer, be in another camp, you know, you have that right too, man. It's just the world of boxing, and it's a beautiful sport, but it comes with a little bit of complication from time to time.
Very true, Keith. I won't keep you on here too much longer, Keith, but I do want to pick your brain on Tim fighting Virgil Ortiz coming up in August. What do you make of that fight between those two?
Yeah, no, I like it stylistically, right? Like it's going to be a way better style for Tszyu, right? And you know, everything that it's interesting because everything that he's doing, he was doing a lot to try to prove himself in the division. But now he's coming off of his first career loss. So there's no better time than to prove yourself than this fight coming up, you know? So all they need to do is go back to the drawing board. You know, I heard him say in interviews, it's just another day. It's just another camp. We didn't do anything new, this and that. You know, you need to acknowledge that there are things that you do right. And you need to acknowledge when sparring or different things that there are things that you can improve on, you know? So take the time to, you know, you want to be a real force in this boxing world, take the time to improve yourself, work on one or two techniques that, you know, are going to make you more of a problem in the ring. And, you know, but, you know, stylistically, that's the problem. You know, you get a fight like this. Oh, well, I'm convinced this is going to be a great fight for me. You know, I'm just going to do what I've always done. Cause this guy, I'm not going to have to reach like Fendora. You know, this guy's a smaller guy coming up. Technically, you know, he was constantly having weight issues at 147, which is why he's now competing at 54. But it is what it is, man. I just think it's a great fight. I think they both have a great opportunity to elevate their names versus one another. And that's what we like about these kind of fights and these kind of matchups. And I just, you know, seeing what Tszyu did moving forward, pushing through the blood, you know, I think it's going to be a tough fight for Virgil, but it's also going to be a tough fight for Tim. I think they both have the capacity to hurt each other. So let's see what happens.
Do you favor one or the other, Keith?
You know, I mean, from what I know about Virgil, you know, it's hard to favor him right now because of his weight issues, his health issues, right? All the stuff you guys say about me sometimes, you know, oh, there's this, there's that, you know, it's up to him and his training camp to really just train hard and get his body moving good, feeling strong, hopefully not being drained in the new division. He should fill out more and be stronger. And if all that lines up, I think he has potential to win the fight. But just stylistically, you know, I don't like when people say 50-50 fights, but I have a feeling this is a little bit of a pick'em fight. I like Virgil's speed a little bit more than Tim Tszyu's. I like Virgil's combination choices more than Tim Tsyzu's. But, you know, Tszyu is a tough guy, and he's not going to just lay down. And he can hurt you. So I think this is a great opportunity for Virgil to get proper respect in the division, for sure.
Oh, respect to both for taking this type of fight, man. Because yeah, this is the type of fight where They're both going to land. They're both big punchers. Virgil has 100% knockout ratio. He's 21-0 with 21 knockouts. Zoo's a big puncher as well. There's no, I don't know. I don't want to jinx the fight because the fight could end up being they're both cautious and they don't want to get hit by a big punch. But style-wise, I just don't see it. Style-wise, at some point, they're going to throw down with each other and let's see whose chin holds up, right?
Yeah, that's why it's a great fight. I mean, this is just a fight where, like, who cares who, like, unless if you're gambling, who cares who wins, baby? Just turn on the, let's just watch the show.
It's gonna be a
Let's
crazy
just
fight.
watch the show. It reminds me of when I fought Diego Chavez. I was 20-0 with 18 knockouts. He was 22-0 with 18 knockouts. And I knew when the fight got made, I was like, this is not going the distance, So, like you said, it just feels like one of those kind of fights. And whoever wins is going to respectably, deserve that elevated view on them and their career. I still believe that Tim Tsyzu is basic and that he hasn't seen a lot of the threats that are out here in the world of boxing, fighting in Australia for the majority of his career. Now he's over here getting his feet wet, doing more shows, taking bigger fights, big names. So, we'll see how he compares, when it comes to living up to that Tsyzu legacy.
All right, Keith, end us off right here, man. Will we see an upset this weekend? Will Jaime Munguia pull off a Ryan Garcia-like upset against Canelo Alvarez?
Hey, man, that's what everybody wants to know, right? I mean, hey, if you enjoyed what Ryan did and he was the underdog and you forgot to put money on it, you might want to back Munguia. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's young. Everything on paper says he's not ready. This is one of those other times where, when you're dealing with people with my ring IQ and the way we assess fights, it says like, man, he's strong, he's tough, but is he ready for Canelo? Is he ready for this fight? Is he ready for this show? Is he ready for this stage and this limelight? The variables, we're all going to find out this weekend. But, Munguia is the bigger guy. He's naturally a bigger guy. Canelo originally, he's moved up into the division. And we've seen the problem that Canelo has faced with fighting some of these bigger guys in the past. Even the first Triple G fight, So Munguia does have some advantages. We can't say that he's going into this fight with no advantage, that he's just a young guy, he's just strong and inexperienced, and he has nothing to his advantage. I think he does have a few things to his advantage, but overall experience, poise, and if Canelo is as focused as he was in the last training camp, that's what I want to know, because when he fought Charlo, I think Canelo was mentally and physically prepared to fight anybody in the world. And that's very important, So if Canelo trains the same exact way, then that's good. But if he allows himself to just get comfortable, we just want to see him at his best, But we're dealing with two Mexican punchers, and let's see what happens. One of the problems is, Munguia, he hasn't yet made those subtle adjustments like Alvarez has in a defensive strategy, So I remember I fought several fighters, and I look at their tape, and I say, oh, they don't have no head movement. Then I get in the ring with them, and all of a sudden they're like ducking. They're ducking in these awkward positions. And I was like, man, they weren't really using that before. And then I said, well, I go and I sit down and I said, well, Keith, they must have saw some of your highlights and decided they don't want to stand upright and get hit by those big shots. So hopefully Munguia respects Canelo enough to where not only did they physically prepare to put on a great fight, but they mentally prepared and strategically prepared to put a little bit more defensive maneuvers and not just walk in to those big punches of a Canelo Alvarez. Because even though he's a smaller guy, Canelo has that strength, he has that power that he's carried up through the divisions. And, you know, it only takes one shot from either man to turn the fight around at any given moment. So this guy Munguia, I'm looking forward to it. He's young. I think he's got a lot to prove, and there's no one greater than Canelo Alvarez to prove it. He has an opportunity to be a force and just gain all of those. I mean, I know he already has a great Mexican fan base, but all those who love Canelo with an upset, you know, it would just be all eyes on Munguia in that division right now, and let's see if the kid can pull it off. You know, I know several people that are going for the underdog. Some people believe Canelo has had his reign, and he's not fully the same. But what I've seen out of Canelo Alvarez is that he's not done. You know, he's a threat, and he always has been a threat, and he always will be a threat. Reminds me of myself. You know, just it's not that Canelo's unbeatable. He's never been unbeatable, but he's really tough to beat. And that's how I feel about myself. Say what you want. Oh, Thurman body shot. Oh, Thurman inactivity. You know, I'm not unbeatable. Never have been. Never will be. But I'm really tough to beat. So, you know, I favor Canelo, and I look forward to the performance of both of these champions.
Yeah, it should be a good fight. It happens this weekend in Las Vegas. That man right there, Keith Thurman, will be calling the prelim action this weekend in Las Vegas, and we'll be saying hi to fans that he interacts with as well. Keith, as always, great chatting with you. Great catching up with you. Thanks for the update on your arm, and I look forward to your return, and I'll see you this coming week in Vegas as well, my man.
Sounds good, my man. I'll see you in Vegas. Take care.
All right. That was Keith Thurman. I'm Marcos Villegas. Thank you for watching us over here on Fight Up TV.